People may wonder why it is possible for the world to be controlled by stupidity. People may wonder about this. I sure wondered about it for many years, many years, and I've posted 300 million talks about it too, simply because this is the most interesting question in the world. Why is it possible that the world can be governed by stupidity? Why is that possible? Well, it's possible, of course, because the game of power, so people, it's because of self-interest, people want power. That's, of course, one thing. But the real reason is the belief in the validity of thought. And the belief in the validity of thought means also the belief in the validity of self. It means belief in the validity of knowledge. Knowledge is just a temporary phenomenon in the quantum field. Knowledge is just a temporary phenomenon in the quantum field. It changes all the time. It's a product of perception. Knowledge is a result of perception and, of course, projection. You perceive that which you think is knowledge, and then you make a projection, and that projection is the product of knowledge which we present to the world, whether in a textbook, in a encyclopedia, or in a lecture, or in a PhD lecture, or whatever, The main reason why it is possible for this world to be governed by stupidity is our innate belief in the validity of thought, so that the person who is able to position himself in a position of power believes in the validity of his own perceptions. He believes in the validity of his own temporary knowledge. And this becomes a product that is constituted within his mental reality. This belief in the language game, this belief in that which is a language game, that belief in this domain of language, that belief in the validity of this thought, the belief in the validity of this knowledge creates a language game which becomes an object for the human mind, for perception, and we believe in the validity of that object. And that is the carrot that we all are humping after. That is the carrot that we're all following. So we fool ourselves, and this is just how it is. We fool ourselves simply because we believe. We believe in that which appears inside our own brain, inside our own perception. We believe in that which occurs to our innermost being, and that which occurs to our innermost being is that which we read from our own innermost perception. Maybe you could say that there are 3 or 4 levels of perception. There is one outer layer where you recognize and experience the coarse world, the world as we see it, what we normally call as perception. Light, shape, space, and matter. Color, shape, which we of course all know is just phenomena in the quantum field. And then there's the next layer of perception, which is our own awareness of our own perception. It's our own awareness of our own perception. And then there's a layer deeper than that again, which is the knowledge of the fact that I'm aware of my own perception. That in us, that in you, that in me, that is aware of the fact that I have awareness of my own perception. So that is a finer, much more subtle layer of perception and of inner knowledge. And we take this seriously. The thing that we can call it our inner child, maybe. When the inner child receives information, the inner child really believes in that and attaches to that. It's our innocence, in a way. It's our innocence, and we are created like that. We are created in a way to believe that which appears to our innermost perception, but that has to be filtered through the other layers of perception first. First you filter it through the first layer where you experience the world, and then you filter it through the second layer, which is your knowledge about the fact that you are perceiving the world. And then it comes into the innermost sanctum, into the inner child, so to speak, where you know that something is happening to you, and that which is happening to you is that you are registering that you have awareness and knowledge of your own perceptions, that there's something happening to your perceptions. And you are that which receives the information. You are that which receives the experience of receiving, of having not having a perception, but you are that which receives the experience of a certain content within perception. It's a very deep thing. It's about the human program. I've talked about this 340 million times. There's only one field actually of interest in science today, and that's neuroscience. If you're not into neuroscience, then you're actually not into the world. Then you're out of this world and you're living in illusion. If you don't have one foot or one arm or one finger or one thumb or one eye into the field of neuroscience, then you're practically completely ignorant of this world. And that's okay. That's how we are the most happy. We are the most comfortable and the most happy when we don't know anything. And we don't need to know anything. Why is it so that we don't have to know anything? Why is it so that we are at the most happy when we don't know anything? Simply because we are that inner child. We are that inner being which register that which happens to us within perception. We are that innocence. We are that innocent pure being. And because we are that innocent pure being, we're not interested in knowledge. We don't want knowledge. We don't need it. And that's just how it is. But the reason why it is possible for this world to be governed by stupidity is simply because we believe in the validity of thought, and we create language game out of our own belief in the validity of thought, and we attach to those language game and we believe in them, and these language game become the discourse of the world. And this discourse is public policies. Politics is a discourse. Politics is a belief in a certain discourse. So politics is actually the biggest problem to our world, because we have politicians who doesn't have knowledge about this. If a politician doesn't know that his work is to stumble around in language games, then he's just not worthy of being a politician. That means that he's just a child in Pampers and he should be in kindergarten. But because we allow them into the public arena, we accept this stupidity. We accept these idiots. Why do we accept this? Because they actually believe that they have something to give. They actually believe that they can contribute to this world because of the process that I have already described. Because of this process that I have already described, these people believe in that which they believe in. And that's how it becomes possible. So they create a product as a result of that which they believe, as a result of that which they believe in, which we all do. That's how thoughts are created. And some people act on these thoughts and live with these thoughts as they are real and true, but actually they're just a phenomenon within the quantum field. Is the tree of knowledge, unfortunately, is the tale of the Garden of Eden. It's a belief in the validity of the tree of knowledge, or it's the belief in the validity of that which you think, and that is the tree of knowledge. So heaven or a good world means to have knowledge about what it is that you think, how it is constituted, what it means. And the tree of knowledge means simply just to blindly believe in it, attach to it. But you have to wake up when it comes to self-delusions. You are just wallpapering your own brain with self-delusions. Never mind about that. People have to grow up and start to have some knowledge and some humility. Why is it possible for Vladimir Putin to be a world leader? Well, simply, of course, because he's developed this enormous power structure around him, in order to protect him. So, and that takes time. So he's very well protected. But it's possible for him to be a lunatic. It's possible for him to be an idiot and to get away with it simply because he has that power. So there's no institution in this world who can come. There's no one to come and say that to him. And the reason is because we accept that the people of power can do things like this. Why do we accept it? Because we don't have an institution to counter it. We don't have a world senate. We don't have an institution with authority and mandate. We have only the United Nations and NATO. But the United Nations is nothing because of the veto system. United Nations cannot do anything because of the veto system. It's just the clubs who wants to have a high salary and a private driver in New York. And a lot of salary. And a lot of goodies. Free travels, free food, free this, free that. And they don't do anything that benefits our world at the ground level, at the earth level. What we need is a world senate. What we need is authority. Someone, an institution of knowledge that has authority and mandate. The United Nations doesn't have any mandate, so it can talk, it can sit, the Security Council can sit and discuss whatever they want for 300,000 years. It won't change anything. Simply because when they finally come to a conclusion, someone, China or Russia or America, will veto it, So that's what happened to these 300,000 years. They were just a complete waste of time. Nothing is done. So we need an institution of authority and of knowledge. So the reason why it is possible for this world to be governed by stupidity is that people believe in what they think, and we believe in that which we are presented with. So we believe in the validity of thought. That is the right definition. We believe in the validity of thought. But thought is a language game. And that language game is just a phenomenon within the quantum field. The language game is made of thought and language. Thought and language go together. It's same like flesh and skin. It's the body needs to have bone inside of it in order to stand up straight, in order to carry the machine of the human program around in this world. You need bones in your body, and that's the same thing with language and thought. If you don't have language, you cannot think. There is some kind of a language going on inside your own brain, inside your own cognitive system. So that's why we can think. We dissemble objects of language. It's like a Lego puzzle game, We assemble and dissemble thoughts as objects, and we believe in them. But the thing that is not really well known is that usually it is the idiots who are successful in politics, because they are those who need it. They are not elected by the people. They are elected by themselves. They have elected themselves to become available to the public. And if they are able to present a product of themselves, a product cells of themselves as a politician, that the public will accept, then they will get power. And that's just a game of manipulation. That's just a game of creation. You create your own self as you go. It's not difficult. You just create yourself. That's also has to do with the creation of language. So anyone can become a politician. You just have to present a language game and a self and a personality to the public that the public can accept. You just create that, become that. It's just same as a exercise, physical exercise or yoga exercise, or to make up your face. It's just an activity. It's an activity of creation. You're just creating a self. A Monday self, a Tuesday self, a Wednesday self. I'm just creating myself, And I become this person that people trust because I've given them the snack that they accept. So suddenly I become a carrot that they believe in. And then I get power because they give me that trust. This is the real situation about most politicians. They don't have anything to give. The media has an enormously important role in this world because it's language, and we believe in language. We believe in presentation. We believe in that which we see. That's what the human brain does. We believe in that which we see. And the people with knowledge about that which we see, people like me, philosophers, poets, artists, we don't come to any position because people are not interested in knowledge. They don't want to know anything about the truth. They don't want to, they're not interested in that. They want to grab a Coke. They want to have a hamburger. They want to vote Republican or Democrat. That's what they want, Or they want to be like this or be like that. And people feel insulted when they are referred to as machines, but so many people are blind just as machines, They feel human, and they are human, and they look like human, and they feel and sense and think like humans. But they are machines in the way that they don't have any idea about what's going on. They don't know anything about their own brain. They don't know anything about their own mind. They don't know how thought is constituted. They don't know why they believe in the validity of thought, which then again results in language games, which becomes the basis of the discourse, which basically is society itself. Society is a discourse. Society is a language game. World politics is a language game. It's a discourse. Because of this certain situation. If on another planet, if there were people or beings like us, the discourse would be completely different because the environment would be completely different. The given would be different. The given environment would be different. That which is present to our perception would be different. So our discourse would be different. Our perception would be different. In this world, on planet Earth, it's like this. We believe in the ideas that we have, because that's all we have. People are a collection of ideas. We're following ideas. We're living with ideas. Ideas is what this is about. And we don't have any knowledge about it because we don't want to know anything about it, because we want to be comfortable. We want to feel safe and comfortable. We don't want anything that can make us feel unsafe. And people with no knowledge, with no education, they feel unsafe when the concept of self is taken away from them. When they are no longer allowed to be the self that they themselves have created for themselves. When that is taken away from them, they are completely helpless. They cannot be selfless. They cannot be without a self, because if you take away the self from a person, he's going to collapse. He's going to go violent. He's going to freak out, just as Will Smith or anyone else. They're just going to freak out. If they're not given the opportunity to attach to the belief in the validity of their own self, they're going to freak out. That self is just a product. It's a product they've made themselves, but they don't know anything about that because they are completely blind. And these are some of the mechanisms that makes it possible for the world to be controlled by stupidity, simply because we believe in that which we perceive. We could say many things that would be much more easier to comprehend. Why is the world so bad like this? Well, of course, because of bad people, because of stupid people, because, there's only one answer. The world is like this because we don't have a leadership, we don't have a management. So we need some kind of dictatorship. We need some kind of control. We need some kind of authority. We just have to get the authority that we need to have. We just need the control that is beneficial to us. We just need the control that is appropriate and beneficial for the planet and for human beings as we are. But to believe that democracy is going to save the day is just insane. When you listen to the politicians in the European Union and in NATO and in United Nations, for that matter, how they talk about democracy, or Joe Biden in America, whatever, how he believes in democracy. If you believe in that democracy, then you are accepting that this world is going to slowly disintegrate. Because of stupidity, because of lack of leadership, because of lack of management. Our current system of so-called democracy doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. The public, who should have the right to vote and control and influence society, has no way, no possibility to influence society, because they can only vote for a politician. They cannot change anything about the way that we should relate to the discourse of politics. They cannot change anything about the agenda. So democracy is not power of the people. Democracy is power of no one. Democracy is the same as soup. It's the same as salad. Democracy is a salad that just never ends. Democracy is an eternal salad of dialogue between people who doesn't know anything. And it's a huge waste of time, and it's an enormous waste of money, and it paves the way for corruption big time. So what we need is some kind of a control mechanism. What we need is to accept authority. If we don't accept authority, then we are in trouble. We need authority, we need leadership. If this world had 500 million people, and which would mean that we wouldn't have any problems, because our problem is a problem of overpopulation, basically. That's why everything is overheated. That's why things are in an emergency state. Simply because the planet is overheated, and everything is overheated simply because of overpopulation. There's just too many ideas, too many people, too many interests, too much pollution, too much business, too much this, too much that. It's not sustainable for this world. So if now let's say there are 10 billion people in this world. If we were 1 billion, then this world would be a much better place. But it's not like that. Also because we have no leadership, we have no management, A true management also addresses the problem of population and overpopulation and centralization and decentralization, or the organization of the population, so to speak, which sounds horrible, but if you're clever, it's not horrible. It's the most beautiful thing that you could ever imagine. Well, in any case, democracy, it's fun for people to think that they have some influence, but they don't have any influence. Democracy doesn't give you any influence whatsoever, because the system is, there's no options in the system. There's just, you can choose between 10 idiots. Which of these 10 idiots do you think is going to take best care of your personal interests? That's what democracy is. If we think that that's enough, this is enough for saving the world, this is enough for making this world a good place, all right, then we really deserve to disintegrate, because we need more than that. We need better than that. We need a highly intelligent institution. We need clever leaders. We need a true leadership, true management, not this level of politicians that are controlling the world right now, because they're not good enough and they don't address the crucial issues that has to be addressed in order to improve this world long term. It's not enough to sweep the floor once a week, and that's what politics is nowadays, how to control climate change. Okay, you sweep the floor once a week or whatever. No, of course it's very difficult. It's a huge machine, the world is a huge machine. So it's not as easy as I say, of course, but what we need is people who address the real issues. And we need to become a humanity that relates to the true issues of our time. We need to become a humanity that relates to the real issues of our time. And we need to become a humanity that cares deeply about how we can solve them and control them, not only outside ourselves in society, but also inside ourselves, within ourselves as individuals. Because as we all know, it all starts with ourselves. We cannot change the world if we don't change our own way of being, our own way of thinking. So we have to find the right attitude in order for us to find the right strategy. Attitude and strategy, that's all. We need a better attitude towards the real issues of this world. And then we need the right strategy to fix the problems of this world, and to sculpt this world into the artwork that it is meant to be. Thank you. Amen. It was just a little talk, only that.